The constant inside joke is that one of these days we'll be on time, right?
I hope so.
One of these days?
One of these days.
This was the closest.
It was. I think we just need to start telling ourselves that it's starting a half hour early.
I do tell myself that, and I need to tell myself that it starts 12 hours. Actually, I kind of did that last night. I got ready 12 hours early, and we're still, I think, 17 minutes behind.
There's something always with YouTube or Facebook, or it's so
or
hard.
all of them.
They make it so difficult.
I don't know. It's not. It is difficult. It's also because I'm a huge geek. It's not. I find that it's not difficult. There's just it's not hard. There's just so many steps, especially all of the cameras and all of the lights and all of the mics, and then you get into the social and software side of things.
Oh, definitely. And one of those things somehow always goes wrong.
And it has to be every single step works or none of it works.
Yeah. It's so weird.
So for this one, the Ethernet cable wouldn't reach over here, and I had tested a whole new streaming system, but I ran it from my desk over there, and now it's over here. I don't know if this is interesting content, but I think something that I want to start doing either with Sarah as part of the Monday Lives or as a different series, just maybe I can do it by myself, is actually going through step by step all of the ways that I have gotten us to this point. And I think, again, that's kind of part of this. I like the term radical transparency. I don't know how radical it is, but this idea that you are along for the whole ride. I mean, this is our photo club, right? This is not me from the top down edicting how this thing is going to run. So I really love the idea that all of us can see how does podcasting work? How does broadcasting live on YouTube work? How does broadcasting on Facebook work? The answer is it doesn't. That one doesn't work. But yeah, so if you're watching live, comment below if there's any parts of this process that you are particularly interested in. Or if you're watching this on the recording, just go into the comment section, because I would be very, very curious to see what people are interested in, what they want to see here, because this is our community. It's something that we all are a part of, and I want to make sure that shows up. How you doing today, Sarah?
I'm doing well.
Yeah?
Yeah, excited to talk about gear.
I know.
Gear up for the season.
Gear? Did you say gear up for the season?
I did.
Oh, I'm so proud of you.
Thanks.
That's such a great pun. I feel like one of the things that frequently separates us from a lot of other photography communities is that we don't talk about gear too often. I think we've had, when we first started doing the photo walks, I did one session where we sat down at a coffee shop and I brought way too much equipment and we just talked about gear. We also did a really quick little workshop on off-camera flash, which was pretty popular. But since then, we haven't really talked about gear very much.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Can you think of another time that we've done a gear-centric discussion?
No, unless people post questions on Facebook, then I think one starts, but I don't think so.
Yeah, interesting. Which, again, I think that's our strength. I think talking about the emotional side, I think talking about the things that make this job challenging or exciting, I think those are often overlooked with when a box comes in the mail with cool, expensive glass in it. You're I want to talk about, but I do think we don't want to overlook it. We don't want to not talk about equipment, because I think especially when you're just getting started, there's this feeling that I don't have the right gear, or
you have to have everything new.
Oh my God, no.
Yeah, you don't. But I think when you're just starting, that at least was my mentality. If I'm going to be good, I need the right gear, which, is...
I struggle with that expression, because I know there's so many professionals who will say something along the lines of your gear doesn't matter, look, and then they pull out this dirt cheap camera and proceed to take a beautiful portrait series with I don't know, a Lego camera. I've seen, there's a series, it was pros with cheap cameras or something. It was years ago. And that's not incorrect. It's totally true. But I feel it's this kind of peak and valley where it's when you're just getting started, you don't want to focus on the gear, right? You want to focus on finding your voice, finding why you want to be shooting, what you want to be shooting, focusing on making good clients, having a website, technique. How are you using that camera? And then you get to a point where you can shoot with anything. And then you come back to like, I don't know, maybe it's like this stuff, right? Where it's like, now I do need to have like a good camera with like enough batteries and like all the right cables and all the right like software to run this, or like, as we know very well, it all falls apart.
Yeah, for sure. And just, I think, a good variation of gear, like if, you know, you do get your business started and like you only have a certain lens, then some shots just aren't doable, like unless you have a wide angle, or you know, vice versa. So
yeah, and you can go super niche. I was talking with somebody about like a tilt shift lens, right? It's a very niche piece of equipment. We don't need to go too deep into it for people that don't know, but essentially it has like extra moving parts on the barrel of the lens. It's traditionally used for like real estate and like architectural photography. And if you need that specific thing, someone telling you that you don't have the right gear, someone telling you that the right gear doesn't matter isn't going to help you get that shot the way that your client might dictate. But it's not everything, but it is something.
It's important, but not everything.
It's important, but it's not everything, but it is important.
Yes, exactly.
All right, so let's just dive right in. I'm going to show like 3 separate types of kind of loadouts for myself. Sarah and I talked back and forth asking like, should she bring her gear? Should she not? Sarah shoots for us and has been working kind of like back and forth with us for a while since her wedding, where we photographed that. So I feel like, is it safe to say that some of your gear purchases are informed by our work, or?
Yes. Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah, I think that's true.
Okay. So they're redundant, right? So I think you said something to the effect of like, we don't need to like show people like, here's my 50 millimeter 1.4, here's my 50 millimeter. Like those aren't interesting discussions. The only thing that you did bring was your drone.
I did.
Which is, I have seen it since I bought this other mystery tech that we'll talk about later. I'm now like kind of itchy to try it.
Yeah.
Like out in the world.
Yeah, we should do that. We're not going to use the drone in here because we're in a basement and I don't want to.
Well, we didn't talk about this ahead of time. I thought we were going to use a drone inside my basement.
No, that's not safe. Okay. That's against droning.
Droning. That's against FAA regulations.
Can we pause for a second?
Mm-hmm. Technical things.
Sorry about that.
For those that are just listening right now, could you hear anything? Because it's confusing because neither of the mics were set up correctly after all that. After all that discussion about
how things always go wrong,
and then we fixed it, and then we unfixed it.
I guess.
Do we need to start over? Hi, Sarah. Welcome to part 2 of this opening.
Yes.
Today, the goal of this discussion is I'm going to walk you through 3 different loadouts for myself. I'm going to go through a wedding kit, a portrait kit, and my kind of like standard everyday carry kit. We had this discussion back and forth, Sarah and I, should she bring her gear? She has confirmed with me that her loadout is kind of directly influenced by the gear that we use, mainly because she shoots with us. We shot her wedding, so we've got a long history with her. So it was not going to be interesting to show you like the exact same kit on repeat. But she did bring her drone. Insert joke about the FAA here and regulations about drones in basements. We're not going to fire it up, but it will. We get to look at it. That's fun.
Yeah.
It makes me think that we should like we keep saying this, but we need to start this discussion about what the first photo walks coming back are going to look like. Whether that means like, I hate to say this, but like vaccine passports are required, or only a certain number of people are going to be allowed to come. I don't know what that's going to look like, but man, I'm itchy to get back, and I'm slated to get my second dose pretty soon. You must be as well.
Yep. May 5th.
May 5th?
So
I'm May 12th, which is a few days after. That makes sense. So yeah, keep an eye here. I've had some requests recently to use the email blast more precisely. So we're going to definitely set up somebody will have one of our volunteers set up to post in the email about like new challenges that are happening and new events, new live streams, everything like that. So if you're not subscribed, you can go to the Instagram link in bio, and there's a sign up form for the email list. Cool.
Yeah.
That was a nice second intro.
It was.
Cool.
It was.
Nice and fast.
Yeah.
This big boy, I I stole this bag, not the I purchased this bag, but a buddy of mine, I flew with him to a shoot in Vegas. He was running video and I was running stills, and I loved how it carried everything. And so I bought it, and then I looked at his and I realized that I bought the step up.
Oh.
And so
Yeah.
this mostly fits on a carry-on, but we have a game that we play at the airport called Michael Gets on the Airplane First. That way, if there's any worry about like getting it into an overhead, I have an extra couple minutes and I'm not struggling with somebody else's roller bag, or I can like put it sideways underneath both of our seats. She's big. This is pretty much a standard kit for me for a wedding. Now there's I have 2 more cameras, but you're looking at me on them, or at us on them. So one of these is actually, this is just a stand-in. This does function, but this is a film camera that I don't generally take to weddings, but I thought it kind of looked like my other camera, so it'll sit in there. So yeah, I've got a lot more in my wedding kit than I typically take to a portrait session because there's a lot more variety needed. My standard operating is I've got my these are both Sigma lenses. Let's start with bodies. I carry at any given time 3 Canon 5D Mark IIIs. I demoed some Mark IVs and I didn't see them being a massive win over the Mark IIIs, especially for the cost. And then speaking of whether or not we talked about this in take 1 or take 2 of the intro, I don't remember. Speaking of used gear, the camera that I am being recorded on is the camera that Sarah is being recorded on is actually my nicest Mark III, and that's my newest, and it's also my usedest. The other ones I bought new, and this one I bought used, and it's in the best condition.
Yeah.
Mine have like years of wear and tear, but used gear. Oh wait, we don't use that. You don't use that symbol anymore. Yes, used gear.
Yeah, all of my bodies are used, but
Yeah.
my lenses are new. So
Interesting.
I think you can kind of decide.
My lenses are mostly new. This is the one. Well, let's go over what this is my usedest camera and usedest lens. I like this term usedest.
Usedest.
It's funny. Okay, so in terms of lenses, I really like the Sigma Art series. I've done some comparisons between like the 50 Sigma 1.4 and the Canon 50 1.2, and I honestly prefer the prefer the Sigma, which when you're talking about the savings, I think the Canon retails for like $1,500. And I think the Sigma, I got it on sale. You bought one at the same time I did, right? How much did you get the Sigma for?
I bought a 35.
They're comparable price.
Oh.
It was like $600-700.
Yeah, it was on sale because we bought them around Christmas, so
Yeah.
they were $6.99.
That's so cheap.
Yeah, they're normally $8.99.
It's not. That's like rent. It's like someone's mortgage. But compared to $1,500 for for the Canon version, and if you like the aesthetic better, man, go for it. As I said, this is my usedest camera. This was the first full frame that we bought. We were shooting with Canon 60Ds before that. I enunciate because Canon having the D at the end is 5 or 6D versus 60D is just a mouthful. It's too much. So yeah, this is the Sigma Art 35 1.4 on a Canon 5D Mark III body. I have sent this in for repair 3 or 4 times. I've had like the mirror box replaced once. I've had like a full clean and kind of like just touch up 2 or 3 times, and they come back brand new. I can't remember the exact price I paid for a shutter. I want to say it was like $300. But when you compare it to the cost of a brand new camera, and they come back with basically a 0 shutter count,
That's really good.
it's really good and
Yeah.
extends the life of your camera. And if you're not hunting the newest camera every single time, every single year, if you like the image quality you're getting, we're at a point where like the diminishing returns of these sensors, of these bodies, if they're not offering anything new that you like desperately need, there's no reason to upgrade. You're on 3s, right?
Yes, I had a 2. I mean, I still have it as backup.
Yeah.
But literally going from the 2 to a 3 was huge because the speed is just incredibly like different.
Did you look at the 4s?
I did not. I think I had tested one a while ago, but then I would just borrow your 3s.
Yep.
So I was kind of used to the 3s anyway. And I looked at buying them, but again, for the cost versus like what you were getting. And we talked about like you get more megapixels, but then you're also sacrificing speed, which is really why I wanted to upgrade.
Yeah, for sure.
That, I don't know, for the cost, the 3 just made more sense.
Yeah. And again, I've compared, I literally borrowed a friend's 4 and shot the same images on a 3 and a 4. And like, there's a subtle difference, but at the end of the day, I like the colors better on the 3.
Interesting.
And so if I've got to go through like a discovery process of like re-editing my images as I'm bringing a new camera in, and it's going to cost me more, and you get what, like you get Wi-Fi, that's kind of nice, but I don't. I have it on my Fuji. We'll get to that, but I don't feel like I need it.
Yeah, I don't think I would need Wi-Fi either. Personally, just, I mean, maybe if I don't know, needed it for importing or...
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't find myself using it. It's,
Okay.
it's too fiddly. Okay, so yeah. 35, 1.4. Man, I should show this up close. This thing has seen some action. I don't like turning this focus ring because I think there's some sand in there now. And it makes a crunchy noise. The autofocus doesn't turn the ring, so we're fine. But yeah, there's no grip on here. I sheared off the lens hood mount. So yeah. She's beautiful. We love her for exactly how she is, but she's seen some better days. She has been replaced, but this one has not been shot at all. It's brand new, very, very beautiful, very, very, very new. But the downside of the Sigma series is there are like reported issues with focus problems, autofocus problems rather. And I shot this actually I shouldn't say I haven't shot this. I shot this on a portrait shoot. And I brought both, and I was kind of like sketched a little bit. So I have the USB mount, which will let you adjust the focus a little bit. But I want to do a test on this in the slow season before we jump into the busy season. Right here, again, ignore the Canon EOS Rebel film camera. This would be a 5D Mark III with a 50 millimeter 1.4. This also has a newer version, but it's right there on this camera. This is my baby. I love this. I love this lens so much. I have special purpose for every single thing that's in here, but if I had to have one camera, one lens forever, I feel like I would just stick with this setup for a long time. 50 millimeter 1.4 can't express how much I love this lens. Desert Island lens.
Desert Island. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
For
Over
my
the 35.
50. So my 50 was my first lens. So then kind of a 35, I literally just got for wider angles, like, family photos, getting ready, anywhere that you're in like a tight space.
Yeah.
And so it's really useful, but I don't know, I still really like the 50.
I know. When comparing them, looking through the lens, if you're, I feel like the first time you look through a 50 and a 35, they seem so similar. But man, when you're in the field and you're shooting you're shooting 50, and then you swap to the 35, the change is it's just like, I don't know, it's like there's such a beautiful variance between the 50 and the 35. They are a little close, like, a little bit similar, but I don't know. There's just something about that set together that I adore. Let's go over some of the other lenses in here. This was my first love. This is the 85 1.2. Can you see through this? Or here, can you see through this on camera? This is like a fun like photo party trick. You show this to a client, especially like a kid, and there's just something so beautiful about this, like, I don't know, this massive chunk of glass that just magnifies things. It's just very pretty to look through. I use this as a portrait lens. So last night I had a high school senior, and I carried 35 and 50, but I also carry this as like my third lens. And this just makes these like absolute dreamy portraits. The 1.2 is a trade-off. It is both stunningly beautiful when you nail focus, but man, it is razor thin. And when you don't nail focus, it is, it's apparent. So this lens taught me to shoot very fast and keep my focus on Canon. It's called like AI servo, where it kind of like constantly hunts, so that as you take a picture, it like kind of the focus kind of rocks back and forth. So that's why I come back from a portrait session with like 1,500 photos I shot last night for an hour and a half. No, almost 2 hours, and I think I shot like 900. I'm getting a little better.
Okay.
900.
Yeah.
Not so bad.
That's good.
It's doable.
Yeah.
I'd be really curious to hear what our community comes back with from ask like, what do you make? How many images do you make from an hour session, and what's your like keep rate from that?
Yeah, that would be interesting. I mean, I had a session last night, and I think I had 1,400.
Yeah.
So, and that was about an hour and a half, I would say.
That was a branding session, though, right? That's a little different. I mean, they're all a little different from each other, but those you really want to make sure that you're getting every single angle that the client needs or wants or doesn't even know to ask for. Okay, I've got a couple specialty lenses in here now. This is my 16 to 35 Canon 2.8. This one's also seen some better days. I dropped this in the dunes and I smacked the kind of cowl here in the corner, and it was like going to be $800 to replace that, and I didn't. Now it just doesn't accept lens filters. That's fine. This lens on the crop sensor cameras was beautiful. It's essentially a 35 to 50 on a crop. And then I put it on a full frame in 16. You shot with this, right?
I have. So
it's wide.
Yeah, it is. I use that. Actually, I have no experience doing like real estate or building architectural photography, but we're redoing our house, and I just used it for like some really like tight spaces that I wanted some photos of.
Right. And that's why it's
great.
Here.
Yeah.
That's why it's here. I mean, it serves a function. I will use it on the dance floor of like the reception of a wedding. And I usually go all the way out to 16, and I throw it right in people's faces, and it gets super distorted, but it's a fun like party look. But in my kit, that's all it really does.
Okay.
And then as you say, like to fit into like a tight space, which I don't have a lot of need for that, but
you never know.
Yeah, that's why it sits in my wedding bag. It doesn't come with me on a portrait shoot. The next one is another like kind of past love. I used to carry this everywhere. I used to be constantly changing lenses between 85, 70 to 200, 35. This one, 70 to 200 Canon 2.8 LIS Mark II. I think there's a Mark III out now. This is a complicated lens for me. It's so expensive, but it is stunning. Racked all the way to 200. I mean, the idea, the 2.8 is a nice shallow depth of field, but when you add into it the compression that you get from zooming all the way in, man, like things you just can't compete with this. But it's heavy, it's expensive, it's another piece of another piece of gear to carry in my kit, and it just stays home.
Yeah.
It goes into the wedding bag, and it gets Brick will generally shoot kind of like the long part of the wedding ceremony, meaning like she'll shoot in the back and shoot kind of like over people's heads, getting the ceremony look that way. And that way, as they're coming like back down the aisle, she can like really quickly like zoom out and get that shot. But I don't know. If I had to get rid of a piece of glass, I probably would get rid of this. I'm not looking to sell it, but I would say
I'll take it.
It's yours. Just have it. So that covers like the Canon gear. This is a new guy. Not anymore, but like this is the interestingly like the newest part of my kit. So when I'm shooting the kind of like getting ready or like the reception, I will generally carry on my right hip a 50 and on my left hip a 35. And when we were looking to get another camera body, I also wanted to potentially get a camera for myself that I could just carry around with me at all times. And I thought maybe I could like dip my toes in both worlds and get like something that would split the time between those two. And it did. It worked. It's a little complicated, but this is the Fujifilm X100F. Again, there is a newer model, the X100V. I know Josh Hartman got the V after selling the F, so maybe he'll be generous when he gets back into Michigan, and I can borrow him and do a shootout between the two. This is, oh man, I just adore shooting with this camera. This is the one that I shoot constantly as my like daily camera. I have like a whole separate Instagram just for like my daily photos, at Michael SP Kent. Little self plug there. But it also is with the crop sensor in mind, it's essentially like a 35 1.2. And that allows me to replace my left side camera, which I can hand that off to Brooke, and now she can have another camera. And it's faster. It shoots really, really well in low light. It's higher resolution, though it is a crop sensor instead of a full frame sensor. And it's just fun to shoot with. Plus, the number of times I've had somebody like ask me, what is that? They assume it's a film camera, and then I jokingly will pull a film or like a Polaroid camera out of my bag. But yeah, this is a fun camera, and we'll talk about it more when we go over like my daily kit. But it was interesting to find something that both fit into kind of like my daily life and my work life. It's making me think maybe I'll buy the X100V, and then this can be my work camera, and the other one I'll keep for myself.
He's making his wish list.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Always, which is funny because I constantly talk about how gear doesn't matter, but there are things that I do want. And then the only other thing that's in this bag, other than there's memory. I've got so many batteries. I don't think you can see all. I've got 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got like 10 Canon batteries. I'm a big believer in knockoff batteries. I mean, do you carry a lot of batteries?
Not as many as you, but I try. I don't know how many I carry. 3 to 4, sometimes more.
I think that's still a lot.
Okay.
I just every year I tend to like go through our batteries and kind of see which ones are in bad shape and replace them. But I still keep them in service until they're just not functioning. So I think I've got like 14 or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's everything that's in this bag. So I'm going to put this down, and I'm going to kind of like get dressed. I'm going to show you myself loaded up with kind of like a standard wedding kit. So this is Brooke's. Mine's in the car. I forgot to bring it down. This is the hold fast camera system. So this goes, I've got these backwards. So I go 50 millimeter on my right. And I tend to wear Fuji on my left because it's essentially a 35. And if you are on the fence about some sort of like off of your shoulders camera system, like strap system, I cannot recommend it enough. This saves my back when I'm shooting weddings like all day or going to a couple different portraits throughout the day. So I wear 2 cameras. Our 50 millimeter, 35 here. This is the Peak Design Everyday Messenger bag that stays on my back. And then this, super, super important. This is a Think Tank Peewee PPR. Doesn't matter what it is, but it doesn't matter which one specifically, but some sort of tethered memory card wallet so that I can wear this. Can you see that?
Yes, kind of. Yep, stand up a little.
Yep. So then I tie this down to a belt loop or just somewhere so that this cannot get lost. This is not going anywhere because I have a mega fear of losing somebody's wedding photos or like, dropping a memory card or dropping a memory card wall. Oh my God. The reason I bought this is I was at tail end of a wedding and I sat down and had a drink at the bonfire with like a groomsman or something like that. And I stood up and he's like, "Hey, is this yours?" And he hands me a memory card wallet with like 8 cards from the day. It was the entire wedding. If I had misplaced that, the wedding's done. It's gone. I mean, nowadays I do dual shoot, so I would still have like the JPEG backups on the SD cards in my camera. But man, that's just terrifying.
Yeah, that is really
so
scary.
So yeah, I carry in this bag on behind me, I carry 4 spare batteries, some spare cards. I've got any extra lenses that I might carry, and then I also have. This is my lighting kit, which I think we'll go over another day.
Okay.
I think going into lighting would be really complicated today. So I've got this is my little lighting kit that just kind of either stays in the car or gets thrown like behind the DJ stand or something. So this gets put away. This gets put either in the car or by the DJ. And then this is just what I carry for the day. Pretty simple. If you cut away all of this, replace the Fuji, and we're pretending this is a Canon, or it is a Canon. We're pretending that this is another 5D Mark III. This is my setup for portraits. The only difference being that I'll carry a couple less batteries, a couple less memory cards, and I carry the 85 in my backpack or my shoulder bag as well. 50 on my right, 35 on my left, 85 in my bag, some spare cards, some spare batteries, a speaker. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Speaker. And that's it. Like, I really value having like a small kit. I mean, that's it. That's the whole thing. That's what I carry in a portrait shoot. I think anything more than that for me is overcomplicating, and then I'm spending time thinking about gear and not thinking about my subject. The last setup that I want to go over. Well, before that, is there any difference that your kit has?
No, I think some personal preferences, like I have a backpack instead of a messenger bag.
Yeah.
Because I think that's more comfortable.
Yeah.
Other than that, I always bring a charger, like battery charger, phone charger, just things like that.
Battery charger meaning like camera charger?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Just
in case. I guess they replaced that with
lots of batteries.
Over the top volume of batteries.
I don't know. I always have one in my bag anyway, just in case I need it. So, I've never used it, but it's just something in there. But yeah, I think that's about the same. Sometimes I'll do like Polaroids or something for fun.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I guess I didn't. I do. Well, I will sometimes carry. I've got an Instax Mini 90 that I use for weddings. But that's kind of extra stuff that nobody's begging me to bring those to weddings. They're not necessarily requested.
It's just bonus. It's for fun.
Yeah, it's fun. It's like a little under promise, over deliver thing, or like a little like customer client experience kind of thing. Last kit of the day. This is my purse. This is what I carry everywhere. This is the Peak Design Everyday. I think it's the Everyday Sling. This is the version 2. What is this? Everyday Sling 6 liter. I adore everything Peak Design does. If you're listening, Peak Design, we should talk, because I use pretty much most products that they've come up with. Inside here, I carry way too many things. I have Fuji, which you've seen before. I carry some film camera. This rotates based on whatever I'm playing with currently. Usually try to keep it nice and small. This is the Yashica T4 Super. Beautiful camera. I do not know how I got this so cheap. Currently, I'm also carrying, and this is something we kind of teased earlier, this is the DJI Pocket 2. And this is a cool little gimbaled video camera. You see the lens kind of like follows, or kind of like smoothly moves. I'm experimenting with shooting some video on our shoots, but also probably use it for something here over on YouTube. And then let's see what else. It's 2021, so hand sanitizer, AirPods, a granola bar. Palo Santo, for some reason.
Smells good.
What's that?
It smells good.
It smells really good. I've got a spare battery and a spare memory card, and that's it. I've got some hair ties in here, but that's about it. Yeah. Nothing else to talk. Nothing else to say about my kit. That's it.
Awesome. I kind of want to get one of those bags now.
I have a spare one.
Nice.
I convinced myself to get the V2 because I could use the V1 for something else in a kit.
And you never do.
I never do. So it's over there. You can try it on, see if you like it
Thanks.
before you go.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Sarah, I know you've been around us shooting quite a bit, and you've seen a lot of what we do. But do you have any questions, like anything pop to mind of like things that you're curious about, like what we do, or like why we shoot certain pieces of gear, or you don't have to have one?
No, I don't think so. Do you ever carry your laptop just in case you need to do archiving or backup while you're at a wedding or anything?
No, that's a really good question. And I know there's been a lot of requests for like an archive and backup class, and it's in production. It's taking a while because I have a lot of thoughts on kind of file management and kind of data retention, backup and archive, two separate things. I don't bring my laptop with me to weddings. I do bring my laptop with when we travel. And so I will often import like my daily photos into my computer to kind of play with those in the day of. If we're traveling, shooting, and we're going to like not go home immediately where I can dump things into the server, then I will import a few, or I'll import like the session into my computer so I can play with a handful of them, get a teaser out pretty quickly. But I don't know. I've heard, I've seen people use like, I think they're called jam boxes. I might be getting that wrong.
Okay.
It's like it looks just like a chunky external hard drive, and you literally just like drop your memory cards in them, click a button, and it like siphons the files out of them.
That is so weird.
It's a cool idea.
Sounds so cool.
But I had a buddy who was shooting with one, and he told me once that he didn't like the idea of it because it's prone to hard drive failures, just like any other hard drive. This was a few years ago, kind of before SSDs got a little bit cheaper. It was prone to hard drive failures, and then you could run into the issue where you had the kind of like the transfer corrupt some files. That might be like fearful thinking as opposed to like logical thinking, but it kind of like swayed me against it. And I am recording in camera, one copy on CF in RAW, one copy on SD in JPEG, and then one copy stays on me, and then one copy stays in the camera. That might be enough, but no, I only bring a laptop if we're going to be like not coming home.
Okay.
Right? Do you bring yours with you to like a wedding?
I don't know. That's why I was wondering if I should, or what other people do. I mean, I've never had an instance where I've ever lost any files though. So
right.
Luckily
I have.
Yeah, I know you haven't. Some people have horror stories. So
I have a horror story, but we'll save it for like the
horror stories hour.
Whoa, that should be a Halloween thing.
That totally should be.
Oh my God. Okay. We're going to do a thing. We need to write this down. We're going to do a thing where we'll set up like a separate channel where people can actually, not a channel, but like an email or something where people can submit either video, audio, or text, like photo horror stories.
That's a good idea.
And we'll set up like a spooky Halloween like set. And we'll tell, oh my God.
Okay. I like that.
All right. Take note of this.
It's happening this fall.
This fall. Coming to Photo Club in October. Spooky photo. Oh, man, this is going to be good. What was I going to say? Oh, I don't love the idea of a laptop being with me because it could break, it could get stolen. So much, like that bag holds so many thousands of dollars worth of like nice expensive gear to add 2,000 more with a MacBook Pro in there.
Yeah.
And I'm the dork that does have like 3 spare computers hanging around, but I don't think most people are me. I mean, I have literally a spare Mac. I have 2 spare MacBooks.
I have one.
You have a spare?
No,
okay.
I have one.
I thought so. I have 2 spare MacBooks, 2 spare PCs, and 2 spare iMacs.
Yeah.
So.
I like having Michael's library.
Yeah. I mean, some of them don't work very well, but man, speaking of library, I really I'm starting to collect point and shoot film cameras again from like 80s and 90s, and we are going to create like some sort of lending library or like a storefront where people can like purchase or rent or borrow film cameras. And as we're thinking about these photo walks coming back online, I know this season we're going to have a film photo walk because that'd be way too much fun.
Yeah, that will be fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, that's me just rambling about my dreams
Fun
for the
things
next.
in the future.
Yeah. Let me see. What do we need to talk about? Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. We need, as of pre-taping, we needed 25 new subscribers so that we can at least get the URL for this. So please and thank you. Do I have to do the YouTuber thing where I'm like, smash the bell for notifications and like this video? Do all the things that help us. That'd be nice. Sign up for the email lists if you want to follow notifications. And then as always, like, just let us know how we're doing. If you've got any like suggestions or constructive criticisms, if you even got mean criticisms, I'll take them. I just won't listen to you. Yeah.
Awesome.
We good?
Yeah. Until next live stream.
Until next live.
Yes.
Bye.